Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig into the sources and pull out the insights you need.
Exactly. We break down the important stuff and show you how it actually works in practice.
And today, we're getting hands-on with the gear. We're tackling Chapter 6, Equipment from the brand new 2024 D&D rulebook.
Equipment. You know, it sounds mundane maybe, but it's absolutely fundamental. It's the sword in your hand, the armor on your back.
It's the difference between victory and, well, becoming a cautionary tale.
Right. We spend so much time on what characters can do, their skills, their spells, but what they have, that's just as critical.
So our mission today, give you the complete rundown on the equipment rules from this chapter.
Yep. Doesn't matter if you're a seasoned player wanting the latest updates or if you're just starting your D&D journey. Understanding your gear is step one. This is for you.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Money? Coins. How does the economy work here?
It's built on a few core coin types. You've got copper pieces, CP silver, SP electrum, EP, gold, GP, and platinum, PP.
And knowing how they stack up is crucial for, buying things or figuring out loot. The baseline is 1 gold piece equals 10 silver or 100 copper. Pretty standard.
Exactly. And electrum is kind of the odd one, worth 5 silver, so half a gold piece. Platinum's the big one, worth 10 gold.
Now, something easily overlooked coins have weight. The rules say 50 copper pieces weigh a pound.
Which doesn't sound like much, maybe. But imagine finding a chest with, 5,000 copper coins. That's 100 pounds right there.
Suddenly, carrying capacity becomes a real issue, not just an abstract number on your sheet.
Totally. And when you want to offload some old gear, maybe sell that rusty sword, the general rule is you get half the list price.
Right. Except for stuff like gems or trade goods, things that hold their value better. Those, the rules say, you can often sell for full price. Makes sense.
Yeah, a diamond's a diamond, but used armor, not so much. This chapter gives you that baseline for regular gear. Magic items and stuff, that's usually more complicated, finding the right buyer.
Okay, so you've got coin or you plan to get some. What can you actually buy? The chapter breaks equipment down neatly.
It does. You've got weapons, armor, tools, a big category called venturing gear, then mounts and vehicles, services, which is interesting, and even rules for handling magic items.
Not the items themselves, but the rules around them.
Exactly.
All right, let's jump into the pointy end. Weapons, your tools for forceful negotiation.
Right. Weapons fall into 2 main training categories, simple and martial. Your class tells you which ones you're good with, which ones you have proficiency for.
And proficiency is key. It lets you add your proficiency bonus to your attack roll when you swing or shoot.
Yep. That D20 roll plus your ability mod, like strength or dexterity, plus that proficiency bonus. That's what you need to beat the target's AC, their armor class.
Weapons are also split by how you use them. Melee for close-up work, ranged for distance.
And the rulebook has these fantastic weapon tables. Super important to look at.
Delist everything, right. Name, damage dice, and type like slashing, piercing.
Properties, mastery, weight, cost, it's all laid out. Visual aids are your friend here.
Let's talk about those properties. They're what make a dagger different from a greatsword, beyond just the damage number.
Absolutely. They define how you use it. First up, ammunition.
For bows, crossbows, slings.
You need the right ammo, arrows, bolts, whatever. You use 1 per shot. A standard quiver holds 20 arrows. You can usually recover about half your spent ammo after a fight if you take a minute.
And loading it. The rules say it takes an action and a bonus action, or replaces an attack.
Yeah, that's the basic interaction. It represents drawing, locking, aiming. Takes a moment.
Okay, and that ties into another property, loading.
Right. This is a limiter, mainly for crossbows.
Yeah.
Even if you normally get multiple attacks per turn, the loading property means you can only fire 1 piece of ammo using either your action or your bonus action per turn.
So no rapid-fire heavy crossbow unless you have a special feature that bypasses that. Got it. Next property, finesse.
Finesse is great. For weapons like rapiers or daggers, it lets you choose. Use your strength or your dexterity modifier for both the attack roll and the damage roll.
Perfect for those high-dex characters like rogues or some rangers. Okay, heavy.
Big weapons, great swords, mauls. If you're a small creature, like a halfling or gnome, you have disadvantage on attack rolls with heavy weapons.
Disadvantage meaning roll twice, take the lower result. Ouch. How about light?
Light weapons are key for 2-weapon fighting. If you attack with a light weapon in one hand as your action, you can use your bonus action to attack with a different light weapon in your other hand.
And you add your ability modifier to the damage of that bonus attack, too.
Yes, unless the modifier is negative, which is rare, it makes dual wielding viable.
Range seems obvious, but how does it work?
It's listed in parentheses, usually 2 numbers, like
Yeah.
8320 for a longbow. The first number is the normal range, no penalty.
And the second?
That's the long range. You can shoot targets between the normal and long range, but you have disadvantage on the attack roll. Anything beyond the long range, you just can't hit.
Simulates difficulty aiming at extreme distances. Makes sense. Reach.
Think pole arms, whips.
Mm-hmm.
Melee weapons with reach let you attack targets 10 feet away instead of the usual 5 feet. Also extends your threat range for opportunity attacks.
Nice for keeping enemies at bay. Thrown.
Lets you chuck a melee weapon, like a hand axe or dagger. You use the same ability modifier for the ranged attack roll as you would for its melee attack. Strength, usually, unless it also has finesse, then you can use dex.
And it has its own range listed in parentheses, just like a bow.
Exactly.
Two-handed.
Simple. You need 2 hands to wield it effectively for attacks, like a greatsword or pike.
And finally, versatile.
This means you can use it one-handed, but if you use 2 hands, you get better damage. The damage table shows this, like 1d8, 1d10 for a longsword. 1 hand deals 1d8, 2 hands deal 1d10.
Gives you flexibility depending on if you need a free hand for something else, like a shield or spellcasting. Okay, those are the core properties. But the 2024 rules add another layer, weapon mastery properties.
Yes. This is a really cool addition. These are special effects tied to specific weapons listed right on the tables. You typically unlock the ability to use them through class features, like the weapon mastery feature itself.
Let's break these down. What do they actually do? First one, cleave.
Okay, so you hit someone with a melee attack using a cleave weapon. You can then immediately make another melee attack roll against a different creature within 5 feet of the first one.
Oh, wow. Like a follow-through swing.
Sort of. If that second attack hits, it deals weapon damage plus your ability mod, but you can only do this once per turn. Great for dealing with multiple adjacent enemies.
Nice.
Next, graze.
Graze is interesting. If your attack roll with a graze weapon misses, you still deal a little bit of damage equal to the ability modifier you used for the attack. Same damage type as the weapon. So even a near miss can chip away at the enemy. I like that. Keeps the pressure on. What about Nick?
Nick interacts with the light property and 2 weapon fighting. If you're dual-wielding light weapons and one has Nick, you can make that second attack the bonus action 1 as part of your main attack action instead.
Oh, so it doesn't cost your bonus action.
Exactly. Only once per turn, but it frees up that bonus action for something else entirely. Very useful for rogues or rangers, maybe monks.
Huge action economy boost.
Okay, push. Hit a creature, large size or smaller, with a push weapon. You can force them to make a strength saving throw. The DC is 8, plus your proficiency bonus, plus the ability mod you used for the attack. And if they fail to save, you can push them up to 10 feet away from you. Great for battlefield control, knocking people off edges, or just creating space.
Yeah, tactical repositioning. Sap.
Hit a creature with a sap weapon, and they get disadvantage on their next attack roll before the start of your next turn.
A defensive debuff.
Right.
Make them less likely to hit back.
I see.
Slow.
Hit with a slow weapon, and the target speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. This effect from the same weapon doesn't stack beyond 10 feet reduction per turn.
Good for keeping faster enemies from running away or reaching your squishier friends. Topple.
This one forces a Constitution saving throw on a hit, same DC calculation as push. If they fail, they fall prone.
Prone is nasty. Disadvantage on their attacks. Advantage for melee attackers against them. That's a big swing.
It really is. Excellent setup for melee allies. Last one, Vex.
What does Vex do?
Hit a creature with a Vex weapon, and you gain advantage on your next attack roll against that same creature before the end of your next turn.
Oh, it's setting yourself up for a more accurate follow-up. Advantage is always good.
Absolutely. It encourages sticking to a target. These masteries really add a lot of flavor and tactical choice to weapon selection. It's not just about the biggest damage die anymore.
Yeah, you really have to look at the table and think about how you want to fight. Okay, moving from hitting things to not getting hit. Armor.
Your defensive layer. The rules break armor down into light, medium, and heavy categories, plus shields.
And again, there's an armor table with all the key info.
Yep. Base armor class, AC, any strength score needed. If it messes with your stealth checks, weight, cost, and crucially how long it takes to put on, don, or take off.
Donning heavy armor takes time, like 10 minutes for pleat mail. Not something you do quickly when ambushed.
Definitely not. So AC calculation depends on the type. Light armor gives you its base AC plus your full dexterity modifier. Leather is 11 plus dex mod.
Medium armor has a higher base AC, like 14 for scale mail, but you only add your dexterity modifier up to a maximum of +2.
Right. Even if your dex mod is +4, with medium armor, you only get +2 to your AC from it.
And heavy armor.
Highest base AC is like 18 for plate, but you add 0 dex mod. It relies purely on the armor itself. It often has that strength requirement if you wear it without meeting the strength score.
Your speed drops by 10 feet. Makes sense, it's heavy.
Exactly. And shields are separate. They give a flat +2 AC bonus while you're wielding one. You can only benefit from one shield.
The table also notes if armor gives disadvantage on dexterity stealth checks. Usually medium and heavy armor do. Clanky.
Very clanky. The rules also mention armor training. You can technically put on any armor, but you need proficiency, granted by your class usually, to wear it effectively, meaning you get the AC, avoid skill penalties, spellcasting issues, etc.
Proficiency doesn't add to AC directly, but it lets you use the armor properly.
Right. And there's a little side note, a variant rule about equipment sizes. Basically, gear needs to fit. A gnome can't really use human-sized plate mail without some serious tailoring.
Makes sense. Okay, beyond combat gear, what about tools?
Tools are super useful for non-combat challenges, or sometimes even in combat. They let you make specific ability checks. The tools table lists the tool, the usual ability score tied to it, what you can utilize it for, what you can craft with it.
Proficiency, weight, cost, all that. How does tool proficiency work?
Just like with weapons or armor. If you're proficient with a tool, you add your proficiency bonus to ability checks you make using that tool. And there's a bonus the rules say if you're proficient and the check uses the ability score listed for the tool, like using dexterity with thieves' tools, the DM might grant you advantage on the check.
Oh, nice. So proficiency really helps. Let's look at some common ones. Thieves' tools.
The classic. Used for dexterity checks to pick locks or disarm traps. Absolutely essential for dungeon crawls.
Herbalism kit.
This one uses intelligence or wisdom. You can use it to identify plants, forage safely, but also the rules state you can give your open, craft antitoxin, and potions of healing with it.
Crafting potions, that's huge. Okay, what about a gaming set?
Linked to wisdom. Used for checks related to knowing, playing, or even cheating at a specific game, like Dragon Chess or Three Dragon Ante. Good for social situations or downtime. There are tons of tools, each opening up different ways for your character to interact with the world based on their skills.
All right, now for the catch-all category, adventuring gear. This is the backpack filler section.
Yeah, it's a long alphabetical list of all the miscellaneous items, mostly just lists weight and cost. But some have specific rules attached.
Like acid or alchemist's fire, throwable items.
Exactly. You use an action, make ranged attack, they force a dexterity saving throw on the target. Acid deals acid damage. Alchemist's fire deals fire damage and sets the target on fire until they use an action to put it out.
Useful low-level damage options. Ammunition is listed here too, with costs per piece, arrows, bolts, etc.
And arcane focuses. If you're a sorcerer, a warlock, or a wizard, you can use these instead of holding inexpensive material components for your spells. Different types listed, like orbs, wands, staffs.
Saves you juggling bat guano and sulfur mid-combat. What about things like ball bearings or caltrops?
Ah, classic dungeon hazards you can create yourself. You scatter them over a 10-foot square area. Creatures moving through have to make saving throws or fall prone, ball bearings, or take damage and lose speed, caltrops. Cheap battlefield control.
Smart. Then you have utility stuff like a climber's kit.
Which lets you climb difficult surfaces without having your speed halved. Super useful.
Grappling hook. And light sources like lanterns, lamps, torches. Need oil for the lanterns and lamps.
Yeah, and they list the radius of bright light and dim light they provide. Essential for exploring darkness.
Holy water gets a specific mention too.
Right. Throwable, like acid, but it deals radiant damage specifically to fiends and undead. They get a dex save for half damage.
And the potion of healing? Probably the most used item in the game.
Very likely. Drink it as a bonus action, regain 2d4 plus 2 hit points. A lifesaver, literally.
Spell scrolls are listed here too, though they're magic items. The basic rule is if the spell is on your class list and you can understand the scroll, you can use an action to cast it.
We'll touch more on magic item rules shortly.
A spyglass helps you see things far away, makes them look twice as large. Good for scouting.
And don't forget the packs. Pre-made kits like the Explorer's Pack or Burglar's Pack. They bundle common gear together for a set price, often a good deal, especially for new characters.
Saves you picking out every single item individually at level 1.
Okay, sometimes you need to travel faster or haul more than you can carry. Mounts and vehicles.
Right. Horses, mules, camels. The mounts and other animals table lists their carrying capacity and cost.
Then you need the gear to use them, like saddles, harnesses, maybe a cart or wagon that's in the tack, harness, and drawn vehicles table.
And for bigger journeys, there are large vehicles.
Yeah, this covers everything from a rowboat or sailing ship up to galleys, warships, even airships are listed in the 2024 rules.
Airships. Cool. And these have more detailed stats, right?
Definitely. Speed, how much crew they need, passenger capacity, cargo space, hit points, and something called a damage threshold.
Damage threshold. What's that?
It's a minimum amount of damage needed in a single hit to actually affect the vehicle. If a hit deals less damage than the threshold, it just bounces off or doesn't significantly harm the structure. Makes big vehicles feel tough.
So you need powerful attacks to really hurt a warship, for example. Makes sense.
What if you need help you can't provide yourself? That's where services come in.
Like hiring people. Hirelings.
Exactly. You can hire skilled help someone proficient with a tool or skill for 2 gold pieces a day. Untrained labor is much cheaper, 2 silver pieces a day. Need a message delivered. A messenger costs 2 silver pieces per mile.
Useful for tasks beyond the party's abilities or time. What about magic help? Spellcasting services.
Ah, yes. You can pay NPC spellcasters to cast spells for you. This can be incredibly useful, but also incredibly expensive, especially for higher-level spells.
How expensive are we talking?
It varies hugely based on the spell level and the size of the settlement. A first-level spell might be 15 GP in a village, maybe 50 GP in a city. But a 9th-level spell, the table says that's only available in a major city and costs 50,000 gold pieces.
Whoa! 50,000 gold, plus materials.
Plus any costly material components, yes. It really puts high-level magic into perspective as rare and powerful. Accessing it via NPCs is a major undertaking.
Definitely a quest reward, not something you casually buy. The chapter also mentions lifestyle expenses.
Yeah, it's a way to abstract the cost of living between adventures. You pay based on a lifestyle, wretched, poor, modest, comfortable, up to aristocratic. It covers food, lodging, minor expenses.
And the DM can use this, maybe impose penalties if you can't afford even a poor lifestyle?
Exactly. The rules mention the risk of malnutrition if you fail to eat regularly, which ties into affording a basic lifestyle. It adds a layer of resource management beyond just adventure gear.
Okay, let's pivot to the shiny stuff, magic items. This chapter doesn't list them, but it gives rules for using them, right?
Correct. Primarily identification and attunement. How do you figure out what a magic item does?
The fastest way mentioned is to spend a short rest concentrating on it, just holding it, focusing. At the end of the rest, you learn its properties and how to use it.
Other ways exist, like the identify spell or just trying it out, but the short rest method is the most reliable described here. Sometimes the command word might even be written on it.
Then there's attunement. This is a big one for powerful items.
Yes. Many magic items require you to attune to them before you can use their magical properties. It represents forming a bond with the item.
How do you attune?
You spend a short rest focused only on that item, handling it, practicing with it, can't be doing other short rest activities. At the end, if the item requires attunement, you become attuned.
And one item can only be attuned to one person at a time.
Right. And here's the main limitation. You, as a creature, can only be attuned to a maximum of 3 magic items at any given time.
Only 3. That forces some tough choices when you start finding lots of cool magic gear.
Absolutely. It's a key balancing mechanic. If you try to attune to a 4th item, it just fails. You have to choose one of your currently attuned items and end that attunement first.
How do you end attunement?
You can do it voluntarily by spending another short rest focused on breaking the bond. Or it ends automatically if you die, or if you're separated from the item by more than 100 feet for 24 hours or more. Unless it's cursed, maybe. Right? Some cursed items might prevent you from ending attunement easily. The section also briefly notes things like items usually resizing to fit the wearer, only being able to benefit from one of each type of item, like one pair of magic boots, and how paired items often need both to function.
Okay, last major section, crafting. For the adventurers who want to make their own stuff.
This covers crafting non-magical items. The first requirement is usually proficiency with the right set of artisan's tools. Smith's tools for armor, woodcarver's tools for arrows, etc.
And you need materials.
Yep. Raw materials typically cost half the item's market price. Finding them is up to the DM.
How long does it take? I imagine making pleat mail isn't quick.
Definitely not. The rules give a formula based on cost. You take the item's price in gold pieces, divide by 10, and round up. That's the number of 8-hour workdays it takes for one person to craft it.
Divide by 10. So a 50 GP item takes 5 days.
Exactly. A 1,500 GP suit of plate mail. That's 150 days of work for one person.
Wow. Can others help speed it up?
Yes, if they also have the required tool proficiency, multiple characters can work together to reduce the total time.
The rules give specific examples too, right? Potions and scrolls.
They do. Brewing a potion of healing requires proficiency with an herbalism kit. It takes 8 hours of work and 25 GP worth of raw materials per potion, much faster than other items of similar value.
Okay, 25 gold and a day's work for one healing potion. That's useful. Scribing spell scrolls.
That's more complex. You need to be a spellcaster, have proficiency in arcane skill or calligrapher's tools, and the time and cost scale dramatically with the spell's level.
How dramatically?
There's a table. A cantrip scroll takes 1 day and 15 GP. A first-level spell scroll takes 2 days and 25 GP, but jump to a 5th-level spell. That's 20 days and 5,000 GP.
And a 9th level scroll.
A staggering 120 days. That's 4 months. And 50,000 GP in materials. Plus, you have to provide any expensive material components the spell normally needs on top of that cost.
Good grief. Crafting high-level scrolls is a massive investment of time and money.
It really is. And the finished scroll uses your spellcasting ability, your save DC, your attack bonus when it's used.
Okay, that covers a lot of ground. Chapter 6 really lays out the foundation for all the tangible things in D&D, doesn't it? From basic coins to crafting magic scrolls.
It really does. It's the nuts and bolts. Understanding these rules helps you equip your character smartly, manage your resources, figure out travel, use tools effectively, handle magic items. It touches everything.
It's not just a shopping list. It's fundamental to how you interact with the game world and build your character's capabilities.
Absolutely. And think about how these details can spark ideas for your game. How might a character built around mastering the push property change combat? What kind of adventure could revolve around gathering the 50,000 GP needed for that crucial spellcasting service?
Or a whole campaign arc about finding rare components to craft a specific item. These rules aren't just mechanics, they're story prompts waiting to happen. What kinds of stories could you tell using these equipment rules as a starting point?
Something to think about.
We hope this deep dive into Chapter 6, Equipment from the 2024 rules, was helpful for you. This breakdown was brought to you by the Dragons and Disasters channel. If you found it useful, please hit that like button.
And for more deep dives into D&D rules, lore, and gameplay, make sure you subscribe to Dragons and Disasters. Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.